screencast to help you to understand some of the concepts that were taught during class. So whether you were absent for whatever reason or you just wanted to go over some of the concepts to get a better understanding, I'm glad that you could join me. I appreciate it. So let's get started. So some of the things that I wanted to go through, or I was hoping that you could be able to answer, is A, sexual reproduction increases variation in the offspring. But this unit, we're talking about more often than not, because you could probably relate, it's human sexual reproduction. It takes two human beings, a male and a female, in order to produce a child or an offspring. But because of sexual reproduction, um, and sexual reproduction increases variety. What that means is that this word here, variation, another word for variation is variety. I don't like variety. Variety is differences. If you look around the classroom or you look around your home, you can see that although they're all people, they all look different. There's no one person that looks alike, and that's because of sexual reproduction. And we're going to discuss how that happens. Um, B, parents contribute. It takes two people to contribute, or another word for contribute is give, gametes that combine to form a zygote with a combination of traits from both parents. Let's break this down a little bit. Parents contribute or parents give, and the term here that we need to deal with is gametes. A gamete is a male or a female sex cell. Another way of saying that is the male sex cell is a sperm cell and a female sex cell is an egg cell. So the parents, the male is going to contribute or give the sperm cell, and the female will contribute or give the egg cell. And the scientific term for that is a gamete. And then they are going to combine, and when they combine, they're going to come together to form, here's another vocabulary term, a zygote. A zygote is a fertilized egg. The great thing about the zygote is that it's going to contain or the combination of traits from both parents. So you're going to receive or inherit whatever trait or genes from both of your parents, not just from one parent. Okay, C. The traits of an organism are dependent upon its combination of alleles, meaning that allele is another word for gene. And so how those genes are combined will determine what the organism looks like. And we're going to talk about that later on, probably next week. Also, the question that you should be able to answer is how does sexual reproduction affect this? And how are those traits passed from parent to offspring? Interesting things. Um, so we're going to go ahead on and go into the lesson. So I started the lesson off today by asking this question. Of that. And the definition of sexual reproduction is it's a process when the male gamete combines with the female gamete in order to produce a fertilized zygote. This is the definition of sexual reproduction. It's important to understand that the male gamete or the sperm cell will combine with the female gamete and it will produce what we call a fertilized egg or a zygote. I need you to remember and understand that gametes are haploid. And remember that haploid is half the number of the total number of chromosomes. So if the total number, if your body, your eyes, your hair, your skin, your nails, your eyelash, everything in your body, whether it's your um, uh, kidney cells or your liver cells, when they reproduce or make more of themselves, they have the total number of chromosomes. The only thing that does not have the total number of chromosomes that are haploid in nature are your gametes. Your gametes are haploid in nature. They have, if the total number is 46, then your sperm cells is going to have 23 chromosomes and the egg cells will have 23 chromosomes. This is the only part that is haploid. Everything else is going to be diploid. So it becomes diploid though when the egg is fertilized. And so the gametes are haploid, but when they come together to form a zygote, they're going to be diploid. Let's look at how that happens. Produce the sperm cells or the male gamete, and the female produces the egg cell or the female gamete. Well, the process that causes this to happen is called meiosis. Meiosis produces the male gamete and the female gamete in women. How that happens is this, and let's kind of blow this up a little bit more so that you can see it. So, the male, it will always, remember that meiosis is called reduction division, meaning that the process of meiosis is to reduce the number of chromosomes or reduce the number of chromosomes within a given cell. And it is important for the chromosomes to be reduced for a number of reasons. Number one, you want, because it takes two organisms or two people in order to make one, the sperm cell and the egg cell must be combined in order to make another human being. Um, they cannot go into it with the full number of chromosomes. So if we look at it, this cell here is going to have 46 chromosomes. And so I'm going to freehand draw the number 46 here. So if this is 46 chromosomes, I don't like that. By the time the end of meiosis, because there's two stages, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, at the end of this whole process, each sperm cell will not have 46 chromosomes, it will have 23 chromosomes. And as we both know, or all know, 23 is half the number of chromosomes, which will make all of these sperm cells, let's go back to the one before, it will make all of these sperm cells haploid in nature. And because haploid is half the number of the total number of chromosomes. Same thing for females. In the females, if you start out with 20, I'm sorry, not 23, you start out with 46 chromosomes. Then at the end of this whole process, each of these egg cells will also have 23. And 23 plus 23 will equal to 46. So that means that the child will have 46 chromosomes. This process is called meiosis, and meiosis ensures that that the sperm cells and the egg cells have the proper number of chromosomes so that they can contribute to the offspring or to the child. So going back here, parents must contribute gametes. Those gametes must be half the number, and because they're going to combine to form a fertilized zygote. So this is why it's important for each of your gametes to be haploid, because when they are fertilized, it will have all the number of chromosomes that it needs, and that is called a diploid cell. Let's look at this process a little deeper. Meiosis happens in two stages. Meiosis 1 happens when interphase is a resting phase. And then if we remember from last quarter, when we learned about mitosis, we learned the term PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Well, in prophase 1, which is the first stage or of meiosis. The same thing happens, whereas the chromosomes are going to start, the nuclear envelope is going to disappear, and the chromosomes are going to double. They double because we want to make sure that each cell has the same number of chromosomes. In metaphase 1, which is one of the most important phases, all of the chromosomes are going to line up across the center of the chromosome, the center of the cell. And then in anaphase 1, those cells are going to begin to pull away. In telophase, here's telophase and cytokinesis. After they pull apart to go to the ends of the cell, and cytokinesis is when those cells totally separate in half. Then it goes directly into meiosis 2, whereas prophase 2 is going to start where, again, the cell, uh, the chromosomes are going to begin to line up again. In metaphase 2, they're going to line up at the center. Anaphase 2, they're going to begin to pull apart to go towards the ends of the cell. And in telophase 2, they're going to, the haploid daughter cells are going to form. And then the cytokinesis where they all separate into different cells. Now, why is this so important? It's important for us to note and remember that when we're dealing with mitosis versus meiosis, mitosis is all about growth and repair. If you don't have that down, please write that down. That is very important. That would be very important. The difference between mitosis is all about growth and repair of cells. That's what it is about. The reason why you're taller than you were when you don't look like you were a baby, your bones kept growing, your skin cells kept growing, your liver, your stomach, your heart, all of those things kept growing. And if you cut your skin or bruise your skin, mitosis is the process that helps you to repair your cells. So you are growing because of mitosis, you're repairing your cells because of mitosis. And it's important because mitosis only has one original cell or one original parent. It does not need two. So all of the cells will look alike. Mitosis ensures that everything looks the same, having the same number of chromosomes that the original cell had. It looks the same. It has the same number of chromosomes. There is no change in mitosis. No change at all. Even if we were talking about animals, if we're talking about uh, the cell repair of the fly's wings. If the fly's wing has 46 chromosomes, when they reproduce those wings again, then the wings will have 46 chromosomes again. However many chromosomes it begins with, that's how many chromosomes it will end with, because mitosis is about staying the same. Whereas meiosis is not about staying the same. Meiosis produces sex cells. Meiosis is all about making sperm and egg cells. The great thing about meiosis increases genetic variation. So each cell will look different in the number of, not the number of chromosomes, but how those genes, how that DNA is arranged. It will have half the number of chromosomes as the original cell. So if the original cell has 46 chromosomes, then each cell, each sperm cell, each egg cell will have 23. If the original cell had 16 chromosomes, then the sex cells will have only 8 chromosomes. If the original cell had 100 chromosomes, then at the end of meiosis, they will have half the number. As a result of that, they will have 50 chromosomes. So it's important to understand that meiosis always happens to have half of the number of chromosomes that the original cell has. Another term that is important to understand about meiosis is this term here about crossing over. As I explained to you in class, the definition of crossing over is crossing over occurs in meiosis only. Crossing over is the transferring of genetic material, meaning that those chromosomes literally, when they cross over, they're going to transfer their genetic material. I want to caution you and make sure that you understand that crossing over is not fertilization because we're dealing with chromosomes, and chromosomes are genes. So what happens is when the chromosomes cross over, their genes are going to transfer their genetic material. So why is reduction so important in meiosis? It's important to produce haploid cells having the number of chromosomes because we know and we understand that it takes two organisms to make one new organism. So if you had to receive a full set of chromosomes from your mother and a full set of chromosomes from your father, you would be born with 92 chromosomes. We do not have 92 chromosomes. We have only 46. So it's important for us to divide our chromosome number in half so that once both of those cells come together, they will produce the correct number of chromosomes for the organism. I realize that I'm skipping around, but here's the picture of crossing over. The purpose of crossing over, or why crossing over is so important, it's because we want to increase genetic variation. Meiosis increases genetic variety, but remember crossing over happens during meiosis 1. So crossing over allows the transfer of genes. And this is a picture of crossing over. You see how the cells, the chromosomes, are literally crossing over and they're exchanging DNA. So this is the before, this is the during, and this is the after. And by them crossing over and exchanging DNA, they have now changed what the organism will look like. Very interesting to understand this because crossing over is the reason why no two people look alike. Everybody looks different. This is the reason why we look different no matter, even if we have a large family, all of the family members will look different because of crossing over. The only organisms that won't look different are twins, but twins is a different situation. They're, if it's an identical twin, their one egg cell was entered by one sperm cell, and then that egg cell split in half. Crossing over helps us all to look different. It increases our genetic variation. It increases the fact that we all look different. Finally, let's review some of the vocabulary words again. Sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, as we talked about earlier, is the process when the male gamete combines with the female gamete to produce a fertilized zygote. Fertilization. Fertilization is the process in which the male gametes is fertilizes or enters into the egg, forming a zygote. Chromosomal number. Every organism has a different number of chromosomes, and that number tells you the total number of chromosomes that they have. It's important to understand that because when we talk about their sex cells must be haploid, must be haploid. But when those sex cells come together, it will form a diploid zygote. Meiosis increases genetic variability. How is that? Because in meiosis 1, the chromosomes will do what we call crossing over. And crossing over is the exchange of DNA or the exchange of genes, which is the reason why we all look different. Which brings me to genetic variation. Genetic variation is the process in which you have a variety of genes. In the human species, we have so many different ways that we could look because of the variety in our genes. We have a large gene pool to choose from. And this is the reason why we all look different and that there is no one person that looks alike. And this is what makes us all beautiful. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to come and see me at lunch. I hope this helped you, and I hope you have a better understanding of the material and concepts taught in class. Thank you and continue to have a great day. Bye bye.